And welcome back to Hero Power, episode 25. As always, I am your host of Vantes, and I am joined again this week by my co-hosts, Zeroshio.
Hey guys.
And Versika.
Happy Nerf Day!
What?
Happy Nerf Day!
Nerf Day. Oh, Nerf Day. I know you're happy.
Yeah.
Don't get ahead of ourselves. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
We've got a lot to talk
It's
about.
like Christmas.
We got a lot to talk about today. But first, Versika, why don't you tell us a little bit about our partner, Viforce?
All right. So last week, guys, we talked about a special that we have going on with Viforce. I want to reiterate that special again today. For the next 3 weeks, you just have 3 weeks now, you're going to get your choice of $25 off Viforce's new machine, the Element, $35 off the Vector, or $50 off the Momentum or the Impulse if you type in "Use My Hero Power" in the comments section when you purchase their machine. And guys, let me tell you, Overwatch is amazing. If you don't have a machine that can play it, this is your best chance to get one. We'll talk more about it at the break.
Oh yeah, Overwatch.
Yeah, my Hearthstone dailies got backed up because of Overwatch. I'm not afraid to say that.
I had it for 1 day, and my Hearthstone dailies and my Heroes dailies got back up because I technically was in Overwatch withdrawal on Sunday.
So, all right, guys. As always, you can find all of our past shows on our website at heropowerhs.com. And we love to hear from you guys. So please feel free to use the contact us form on the site to send us an email, just like our good friend Jason did. With the subject, I love this, holy crap! Jason says, I'm from Knoxville. I live in Houston, and I'm currently in Germany for business. It was so awesome to hear someone from my hometown put out great content on something I really enjoy. Keep up the great work, and go Vols. Thank you, Jason. We love it. We love hearing from you. Go Vols.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Represent. Yeah, it's awesome to see that we have listeners in Germany. I know we have some in Sweden, Australia, and now Germany. And even better that he's a hometown hero. So we appreciate you. We really do.
All right. So with that said, I'm going to talk a little more about Knoxville.
Okay, hold on a second. For the audio listeners that catch us on iTunes, Versika decided to put a University of Tennessee beanie over his headset, over his head. It was the goofiest thing ever. Even more goofy than my Bears hat.
I look like a cone of orange sherbet.
Yeah, so continuing on Knoxville, as we had mentioned last week, this past Saturday we had a Tavern Hero Qualifier event at the Level Up Games and Hobbies in Knoxville, and I just want to shout out to the local Hearthstone community. We had a 20-player event. It was great to see the turnout we had. We had players drive as far as like 3.5 hours to compete in this thing.
Was it Fort Campbell?
He's from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Okay, Clarksville.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a great turnout, great event. We also want to shout out to our winner, Max, who I would like to say reverse swept in the finals, down 0-2, and came back to win it all. You can't ask for much more than that in a day of Hearthstone.
And it's not like his opponent was a scrub either. He was playing probably the best Hearthstone player I've met in real life.
Yeah,
wouldn't you guys agree?
I would agree. I wish there was 2 spots available in the Tavern Hero because he definitely should be able to rep. Max he bucked down with his decks and found a weak point in his opponent's Druid, and his opponent got some bad draws.
Yep.
And got some bad opportunities. And I watched the last matches. I didn't see any misplays and the obvious misplays that cost him. So it was just A-class Hearthstone players matched up. I'm really happy for Max. We're going to try to see if we can get some time to get him on the show. He said he'll look at his schedule. I do want to say, give a little shout out to him, saying that he had a rough day the day before and wasn't going to come to the tournament, and he ended up going out and staying out late the night before and didn't get a good night's sleep, and he half the tournament he was half passing out over there in the corner between rounds. So he really stuck to it, and he's just a really good player. If he plays that good on an off day, think about the Tavern Hero championships that come up in May.
Weren't both of the finalists playing on like a phone? I know one of them was playing on a phone, but weren't they both playing on phones?
I believe they were, yes.
You guys need to go get you a ViForce machine. Just
Both of the finalists were on a phone, and big shout out to Steven over at Level Up.
Yep.
This is the first event ran there. His first time running a Hearthstone event. He has some experience running like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon events, but never anything that rely on network. It's funny because everybody's piled in there, and everybody's playing it. He says, "Wow, it's so quiet," because he's used to Magic the Gathering tournaments where they're talking to each other and everybody's on their devices and not saying anything. He's like, "I've never had it this quiet in here before with this many people."
He looked at his partner and said, "Shh, they can hear us whisper."
Yeah, they were whispering at one point, and I was sitting at a table playing a game, and I looked over and said, "Can you guys keep it down? We're trying to concentrate here."
But big shout out to him. We're hoping to do more events in the Knoxville area, partnered with Level Up Games in the future, some other fireside gatherings and whatnot. So look forward to those announcements.
Speaking of, we're going to have a fireside gathering this coming Sunday at our normal location, the Technology Cooperative in downtown Knoxville. So if you're listening in the Knoxville area, feel free to come out and join us.
And hopefully,
even if you're not in the Knoxville area, drive out and come see us.
Yeah, and hopefully the Level Up guys, the crew there, will come out there. Visit out there, the ones that came and played this weekend. That was a lot of fun. I tell you, I've been to a lot of tournaments of Magic the Gathering and even some Hearthstone tournaments. That was the most fun I've had in a long time.
Yeah. All right.
It really stunk. I drew Seleucus right off the bat. One of our listeners. I was just like, man, I was hoping to get someone that I just didn't know.
Yeah, we both had a listener first round. I had Tony. Yeah. And you had Seleucus. So yeah, it's luck of the draw. I wish it didn't happen that way, but
how many Dragon Cons have we been together, Patrick? 3
or 4, yeah.
So out of the 3, we played 2 tournaments together. Both times, out of all the people at Dragon Con and all the people in the tournaments, both times I drew Patrick.
Yep.
Or Amontes on the first time.
The chat room's asking for little details. It was a 20-person single elimination tournament. Yeah. I personally made it into the second round and then faced a really good guy that came from Clarksville, and he's just A-class player. He actually got knocked out by the winner of the tournament. Max is the one that beat the guy that beat me. So I take that as a win. I made it past half the field, and I lost to the person that lost to the champion. So it's a win in my book. How'd you do, Forsaken?
To be quite honest, I came unprepared. I was only there to make sure we qualified for the event. So I went out in the first round to Seleucus. It's not to take anything away from him. Solid play. In fact, I even had him in game 2. If he hadn't arenoed at 19 health, he would have been dead the next turn. He just didn't realize it. But I brought 3 experimental decks, and they did exactly like I expected experimental decks to do.
Yeah, one of our listeners, Seleucus, did really good. He ended up facing against another one of our listeners, Let's Surf, who's a multi-time legend player. Yep. And in my opinion, semi-professional. He's very, very good at Hearthstone, and that's who knocked him out. So very good competition.
And if I'm not,
shout out to Riv in chat.
Yeah, Riv was there. He made it like the semifinals, or quarterfinals,
third round.
third round. Yeah, he got knocked out in third round. He made it further than I did. So
Didn't Let Surf have to reverse sweep Seleucus?
yes, I believe that's right. I believe because he made a couple questionable calls. He believes were questionable calls, and it ended up costing him a couple games, and he did have to reverse sweep. And we had a lot of 3-2s, which shows for the good competition that we had there. It wasn't a lot of 3-0s. It was a lot of 3-2s. My first round, I won 3-1, so he took a loss off me, and then the person I played against 3-0'd me, but I think I just wasn't ready for his decks because they were not meta decks.
Okay, so real quick, chat room asked which decks you brought.
I brought Aggro Paladin, mid-range Hunter. I'm sorry, mid-range Druid. So Aggro Paladin, mid-range Druid, and Control Warrior.
I brought Murloc Warrior. I brought Reno Shaman, and I brought Blessed Champion Combo Paladin.
Wow.
Alrighty.
We'll have to talk about that later.
Yeah. I brought decks just in case we only had like 15 and I had to play. I brought Mech Mage. I brought my Reno Dreadsteed Warlock, and I brought Raptor Rogue. So it was fun, but I ended up not playing. I just kind of worked the event. So all right, so big news. Well, not the biggest news, but we do have big news. We finally got an official release date for Whispers of the Old Gods.
I would say this TOS, it confirmed what the intern let out.
Official. So it's an official confirmation of the official, unofficial, official release date, right?
Yep.
Right. Official Blizzard post is official.
So, and that date is
April the 26th.
April 26th.
This coming
Tuesday.
1 week.
Less than a week.
So this time,
tomorrow you'll have 5 days.
Yeah.
This time next week we'll be in Old Gods.
We'll be in Standard.
Yeah.
Whole new world.
So what's happening tomorrow?
So yeah, let's move right on. Tomorrow, we've got Brodan at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So that would be 10 a.m. Pacific. Yeah, 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific.
It's just standard operation time for
Blizzard is doing a live stream event on the @Play Hearthstone Twitch channel. I guess it's just Play Hearthstone on Twitch, but they are going to do some Old Gods gameplay, and I believe they're going to reveal the final 62 cards that we've not seen yet.
They did this last year on August 14th for TGT, where they play 3 matches, and it'll be Frodan playing with Ben Brode behind him. This is what they did back in August. And they'll play against another dev or another worker on Team 5. And throughout the game, they will, when the new cards come up, they'll show them, talk about them, and make some comments about them. And if they haven't gotten to the new cards by the end of that match, they'll reveal the ones that were in both of those decks. Both decks will be built around the new Old Gods cards. Furthermore, they usually release quite a few afterwards, and then later that day on Facebook, they'll just pretty much put I think they put like another 20-some last year. They put 20-some cards on Facebook to finish up the last of them. So that tells me we are going to have all of the cards revealed, in theory, by the end of the day tomorrow.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see what else we have coming for the. So I mean, we've not seen the Mage Legendary yet. You know, we've not seen
Warrior all of
Legendary yet.
We've not seen all of the Cthulhu synergy cards because it looks to be, if they keep to their format, they're going to have one for every class that buffs Cthulhu, and then one for every class. And this is in theory. This is speculated. One for every class that does something with Cthulhu. Like if Cthulhu's over 10, get armor. That's the one from the Warrior. and then other things like that. So we're expecting to have more Cthulhu cards be released.
Yeah. All right. So I guess that brings us to the other big news, and what's going to take the majority of our time today is
Christmas in April.
Christmas in April.
As
that's
Versika
right.
calls it, Christmas in April, because I've never seen anybody this excited for Nerfs. So
I have, but they're LARPers. So they like the Nerf guns.
So earlier today, Blizzard dropped the classic card Nerfs that we've been expecting. We didn't think we'd see them until tomorrow during the event.
Yeah.
But they shocked everybody and dropped. There was 12 cards that got changed, and we're going to kind of cover some of those right now. We're going to talk about them just a little bit as
One thing I want to mention, of the 12 cards, 11 of them can be disenchanted. So if you've been saving up your cards from your packs and not disenchanting, you should get the full value of the cards. So you would get a full 400 dust from disenchanting epics and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
So
I believe they said if you disenchant 2 of all 12, you get like 4,300 dust.
Yeah.
So, all right. First up, we're gonna start right digging into Zeroshio here. Start with the Druid changes. Ancient of Lore, 7 mana, 5/5. Used to say choose 1, draw 2 cards, or restore 5 health. Now says choose 1, draw a card, or restore 5 health. Zeroshio, since you are our resident druid, why don't you tell us how you feel about this?
I feel this is a buff. And this is why I feel this is a buff. They are changing Druid completely. And Druid has always been about get that early damage, control the board, get them at your kill zone, and then use the combo. Well, you're totally going to have to change your frame of mind. You're going to have to go more tempo. If you draw too fast in a tempo deck, then you're likely to get to fatigue faster than you would want to. So drawing 1 card will still allow you to get that card draw advantage, but it's not going to be so much that you're going to overload your hand because you're not going to be dumping your hand like you used to. So you really don't want to use this on turn 7 when you got 8 cards in your hand if it draws 2, but if it draws 1, then that's fine. So I know it clearly is a nerf, but with the way Druids are going to have to change, I think this will be perfect. It'll stay in the decks.
Okay.
And I would not disenchant this.
Versika, go ahead.
I kind of agree with Zeroshio there. I don't know that it's necessarily the nerf that people were expecting. With the exit of Antique Healbot, I think healing is going to be at a premium. And I think what you're going to see now, whereas now you primarily see Ancient of Lore as a way to draw 2 cards, unless the Druid is in dire trouble. I think now you will see that restore 5 health more often, even when the Druid isn't in dire trouble, just to keep the health pool high for the end game, and you're going to get to see more of the end game now. So, like Zeroshio said, it's a nerf, but it didn't nerf what I feel like is going to be the most important feature of this card in this new meta.
Yeah, to kind of key on to the restore 5 health, with Druids going more tempo, they're probably going to have to trade with their face more often, and you're probably going to see a few more uses of hero buffing cards that actually give you more attack and more armor. So being able to heal turn 7 and beyond, especially for 5 health, which is a lot, and a 5/5 body, will probably be better play in the tempo than drawing a card. But you still have the versatility of drawing a card.
You might actually start to see Bite being played.
Yeah, I agree.
That's true. Yeah, I like it. I don't think like you guys have both said. I don't really think it affects the card that much. I think it'll still be played. So, maybe you might you may just see 1 instead of 2 in some decks.
I was extremely afraid when they said they were going to nerf Ancient Lore, but I'm pleasantly surprised and I'm happy.
Yeah,
I don't know that people will run 2 of these. I do think you're going to see an Ancient of Lore, Ancient of War split now.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Our next card, and this was one of the more controversial cards that was talked about leading up to it, and that's Force of Nature. So this is one half of the infamous Druid combo. Force of Nature used to read 6 mana, summon 3 2/2 Trents with charge that die at the end of turn. Now it reads 5 mana, summon 3 2/2 Trents. So now it's summoning 3 token Trents that stay on the board. They just don't have charge. Versika, what are your thoughts?
Dust it. Dust them both.
All right.
At 5 mana, 3 2/2 Trents. In some 3 2/2s on turn 5 in some classes wouldn't be necessarily terrible. But Druid, because of the strength of Druid of the Claw, because of some of the other changes today, I believe the 5 slot is going to be very crowded, and I don't think this card offers enough value at the 5 slot to keep it. I say dust them both.
Okay.
I wouldn't dust this.
If you've got 2 of them. But
I wouldn't dust this. I would probably run 1 in a deck if I'm playing a tempo style Druid. This is why. There's a card, the Whispers card, that gives you 5/1/1 Wisp for 5 mana.
Dark Whispers.
Dark Whispers. There's also one that's 7 Wisps for 7 mana. This falls right in the power curve for those cards. And they're 2/2 bodies. So they are good tempo plays. Coupled with other cards, now that it's down in the 5 mana slot, coupled with other cards that give buffs to them or death rattles that summon other minions, I think it would be good in a tempo Druid, but only a 1-of.
So, Matt at Arms in chat asks, why would you choose to play this over Druid of the Claw?
Number of bodies, tempo. Again, I would still put 2 Druid of Claws in the deck, but to keep that tempo, I would put 1 Force of Nature in there. I would not replace a Druid of Claw with this. I don't think they're a comparison. Basically, you're getting the 3 wobbling runts for 5 mana. So
yeah,
you're getting the death rattle effect for 5 mana. I don't think it's terrible. It's not as powerful as it was, but that's
so token Druid is still a pretty formidable deck archetype for Druids. I mean, you still see token Druid occasionally. Will this kind of fall into that? Maybe that is its new home.
Yeah, and token Druid is more of a tempo. It's not a spell based tempo. A lot of people think tempo and they think the spells and flame wakers with tempo mage, but tempo is just all about getting good value, keeping the tempo in your favor, and a lot of times that's done by having something that either is very sticky and summons other minions, or summons multiple minions off of one set of mana cost. So this would be good. They would have to use a AoE board wipe, or they would have to trade into each of these individually. If you're going against something like aggro, 5 mana to have them trade 3 of their minions in, that's a 3-for-1. That's great tempo.
Matt at Arms said, "Let me change your mind and take one of your 2/2 Trents."
that's well, I mean, yeah.
1 Holy Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, AoE. But here's the thing: the way the new set's coming out so far, you're not seeing any AoE. You're going to have to use the AoE that's currently in standard. It's not in Old Gods. I haven't seen much AoE. Have you?
No, but I feel like the classic AoE will be enough.
Yeah. We'll have to
see.
Have to see. All right, our next card and the third and final Druid card that's getting nerfed is Keeper of the Grove. So previously, Keeper of the Grove was 4 mana for a 2/4 that said choose one, deal 2 damage, or silence a minion. Now it's a 4 mana 2/2 that says deal 2 damage or silence a minion. Personally, I still think, yeah, it's a little more expensive for a 4 mana 2/2, but I still think its ability to choose 2 damage or silence a minion is versatile enough to keep at least 1 in a deck at all times. Zeroshio?
Two of. You don't play this card because of its body. Now it's nice that it doesn't. That they have to trade multiple minions into it, but by that time you're already 2-for-1 and maybe even 3-for-1ing. So you're still going to get 2-for-1 for this. You're either silencing an effect off that that's a death rattle or something that's a sticky, or you're killing something and they have to trade something else into it or use a spell. So this is still a 2-for-1. I don't think they nerfed this properly, and I'm happy they didn't.
Okay. Versika?
I'm still going to be running 2 in the deck. The 4 health never really mattered to me. It was all about the ability to either silence or damage. I mean, I can't count the number of people I've actually finished off by dealing 2 to their face by playing this because I drew it late. And to me, that's what makes this card viable. Even if you draw it on turn 8, it still has a use in some way or fashion. I've always used it for the ability. Yeah, the 4 help may have helped it stick around if I played it on turn 4 and they had something worth silencing, or if I used it to kill a knife juggler. But for the most part, this will not affect how I play this card, so I will still choose to put 2 of these in my deck.
Okay.
And yes, I love silence. I think silence is powerful, and I think if you're not running it, you're making a mistake.
I'm waiting for the meme that has Keeper of the Grove and all the treants on with tutus. All wearing tutus. You know, the ballerina tutus, little frilly things, right? Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Our next card is the Hunter change, and this was Hunter's Mark. So the only real difference here was Hunter's Mark was a 0 mana, change a minion's health to 1. It's now a 1 mana, change a minion's health to 1. So
Versika and I were arguing whether this was a nerf or not.
Versika, we'll start with you.
I think this is a non-factor. Just like Soulfire, I think it's a non-factor. If you're going to play Hunter's Mark, the 1 casting cost isn't going to make a difference. Right now, when you're playing Hunter, your power turns are on odd-numbered turns. Your even-numbered turns, oftentimes you were left with 1 mana available because you didn't have enough to hero power on top of what you were casting. So I think even with the nerfs to the charged minions and the loss of the next promising Goblins versus Gnome cards, I still think there's several awkward turns where this is viable. And for people that now don't want to maybe run some of these other cards because of their cost or because of the nerfs today, and we'll get into those other cards here in just a minute, think about what this does to a taunted up 10/10. You know, this is still a very powerful card. It is a ridiculously powerful card for 1 mana.
Yeah.
And I still believe that if you put 1 of these in your deck, you're going to put 1. If you put 2, you're still going to put 2. I don't think it changes anything. I do think it does affect the early game of specifically Face Hunter, Aggro Hunter, whereas on turn 3, usually to clear a big minion, usually on turn 3 your opponent might put out a 3/4, you know, something that gets good tempo and trades well with your smaller minions. They would put out an Argent Horse Rider, which is 3 mana 2/1 with Divine Shield, use Hunter's Mark on the 3/4 or whatever it was, and run into it. And that's not a turn 3 option anymore. So it does slow them down just a little bit. Again, I don't think it's going to be that big of a factor, but it will. It does slow down Hunter, which is they're getting them. And Versika alluded to before we went live. They're getting a large chunk of the nerfs.
Yeah.
Other than Druid, of course.
Right, yeah. So, all right, our next card, and this one was a bit of a shock to me when I saw it because I wasn't expecting it, and that's Blade Flurry. So, Blade Flurry used to be 2 mana, destroy your weapon, deal its damage to all enemies. Now it's 4 mana, destroy your weapon, and deal its damage to all enemy minions. So they're taking away that burst damage to the face that rogues had with this card. And I want to read I saw a tweet, or I'll show you a tweet, from Dog, from Team Liquid. He says, "Wake up, see nerfs, Blade Flurry nerfed, not like this, go back to sleep." I think that pretty much says it. I mean, I don't know what more there is to say. Dog is considered one of the best rogue players in the world, and that was his reaction. Go ahead, Zeroshio.
I could possibly understand the 4-mana nerf. Could maybe understand the all enemy minions nerf. But both nerfs on the same card at the same time, I understand the 4-mana because the prep Blade Flurry was a free combo used after you spent all of your mana on weapon buffs. And then you go to face, and then you're basically doing double your weapon damage to the face. It was never really used to clear minions. Nobody cared about it clearing minions. It hardly was used as a tempo play. This makes it used as a tempo play to bring tempo rogue back. Instead of your combo oil rogue, this now want... And if you look at it, a lot of your nerfs are pushing tempo. They want people to play tempo decks. They want people to trade minions. They want interesting matches of trading and counterbalancing, and this person's leading, then this person's leading, and instead of either just go to face or a huge combo halfway through the game. I think it would have been fine for it to be 2 mana and take away all enemies and put in all enemy minions, but I think this is nerfed too hard.
Versika?
I actually really like this nerf. I think this shows Blizzard's dedication to making sure that the card is viable in both formats, because until Sharp Sword Oil came out, this wasn't a problem. Not really. The most you would ever really see it do would be 5. Once the Sharp Sword Oil came out, then you had a whole different problem. So Sharp Sword Oil is leaving the standard format, but it's still going to be in WoW. So players would still have to deal with it in that format. So I think by combining the mana cost increase along with its inability to deal damage to the face, is still taking in the Sharp Sword Oil aspect of having this played in Wild. So I think this shows Blizzard's commitment to making sure that it's viable in both sets. At least the classic cards are viable in both sets. So I agree with the nerf on the principle that you're really looking to primarily balance this in Wild, because it's getting indirectly balanced by Sharp Sword Oil leaving anyway. So I don't think standard decks would have had to worry as much about it, but I do think it would be a very big problem in Wild, especially with some of the new cards coming out. I mean, if you can imagine letting this sit in your hand with Emperor Thaurissan on the board, knowing a Cthulhu is coming up, you could technically one-turn kill him with a Cthulhu and a Blade Flurry. It just, with all the card synergies coming up, it just feels like this was more of a Wild nerf than a standard nerf.
So you're saying that this nerf shows us that Blizzard is looking at Wild as possibly being a viable format they need to make sure to nerf and keep balanced.
I think so. I think if you're going to keep people interested in Wild, you have to make the game balanced there as well. And I think that that's part of the challenges they're going to face coming forward with releasing so many sets and adventures at the pace that they're going to be setting them, because they're not only going to have to figure out how they're going to fit in a standard environment, but they're also going to have to figure out how this interacts with GVG and the Grand Tournament and stuff once those go out. And I think that's going to be a challenge for them. I think this shows us that they're not afraid to do that.
Okay, and on that note, I'm fine with this nerf. I think that's a good balanced nerf. You convinced me, and I like that. I like that they are considering Wild a format, because that may mean they'll eventually have competitive Wild formats and take the Wild ladder seriously.
Yeah. I was a little upset with it at first. I was, Joey in chat said, this makes it a lot like Shadow Flame. It's 4 mana, destroy your weapon, deal its damage to the board, instead of destroy a minion and deal its damage to the board.
Okay, so the 4 mana makes sense.
Kinda, yeah. So,
I mean, it's the same thing. Shadow Flame's 4 mana, right?
Yep.
But 4 mana is pretty expensive, so.
But you're that falls in line instead of a minion.
That's balancing the classes right there.
Yeah. So, all right, our next card is also the last class-specific card that got nerfed. And I was surprised by this because, again, it's a rogue card, and it's Master of Disguise. So now this card used to read 4 mana 4/4, give a friendly minion stealth. Now it's a 4 mana 4/4, give a friendly minion stealth until your next turn. So I was trying to think what this was used for previously, and I couldn't think of a lot of rogue decks that ran this card. So then I got to thinking, well, maybe they're concerned about this card being used with something that's coming in Whispers.
Could be.
Thoughts? Versika, we'll start with you.
I agree with that. I think this is one of the most underused cards in Hearthstone. It passes the vanilla test. It's a 4/4 for 4. Its battle cry is amazing. The problem that you have with it is that you didn't have time to develop this card properly in the meta that we've been in. So now that meta is changing and the games are going to go longer as a byproduct of that meta changing, this starts to become really sick, even with just the cards we have now. When you think about it, especially now that people are going to start paying attention to Inspire cards, think about how often a rogue uses their weapon power up. You put a Kodo Rider out there, give it a permanent stealth. Every turn you're getting your roguing up your dagger, or powering up your dagger, you're putting a 3/5 Kodo on the board. I think people really weren't the way the meta was going, people weren't having time to develop those kind of combinations. And now that the game is going to be slower, I think this offered way too much value for what you pay for it, and increasing its mana cost. I don't think it really mattered. I think you would still pay to have that permanent stealth. And even though I'm a fan of silence, I actually like what they did with this, only giving it stealth till the end of the next turn. I think silence effects should be like that. I think a silence effect should last for 1 turn, depending on how much you pay for it. Early game silence effects, if you're paying under 5 for it, last till the end of turn. Anything over 5 is a more permanent effect. I would like to see more end of the next turn effects in Hearthstone, forcing players to think ahead to their next turn or the next 2 turns and set up those situations that their opponent then has to react to and foresee coming or get beaten by it.
Okay. Zeroshio?
I'm trying to find the card. There was a card revealed that puts a copy of card in your hand for every minion, and they're 1/1 minions for 1 cost. That's what I think this is possibly for.
Well, the chat room was saying, look, you scaled Nightmare and put a Cold Blood on it, it gets permanently stealthed. So you have
that too.
Find some way to get rid of it, and then you've got all the cultists that buff Cthulhu. And see, this is a great example of bringing us back to cards that we don't necessarily use all the time, because you throw this down, you stealth that Cthulhu cultist, and then you Youthful Brewmaster it back to your hand, and you can do it to the next one. And because that cultist never has to attack, it's like trying to kill a Shaded Naxxramas before it actually pops out. So
awesome. Ducharmo in the chat room, Joey, sorry. Shadowcaster, epic, 5 mana 4/4 battle cry. Choose a friendly minion, add a 1/1 copy to your hand that costs 1. Mm-hmm. If you copy this minion, and then on turn 10, you could put up Malygos and her, give it permanent stealth.
Yep.
And the Shadowcaster is a rogue specific card. So this may be the card that they decided to do this with, because if it's in standard, that means any powerful neutral or rogue minion they put out could be easily just thrown out with this card if it's a 1/1 for 1 cost and just left on the board forever. You could do it with a Gadget Stand Auctioneer and then never take it out of stealth, and it just constantly generates cards for low cost spells, which with the new there's a new there's a new rogue legendary that gives you kind of the equivalent to spare parts. They're 1 mana spells. That could be used with Gadget Stand. And if he's permanently stealthed on the board AoE is the only way to kill it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the reasons. But I like this nerf. I think it's in line with what Rogue wants to do.
You're still getting your permanent stealth with Conceal. So if you're running
Conceal only stealths until end of turn.
I don't think so.
I'll look it up.
I'm pretty sure it's a permanent stealth till you break it. This puts a 4/4 body on the board, pretty much giving you a Conceal for free.
No, Conceal reads give your minions stealth until your next turn.
Okay.
Yeah. This is unless a minion has stealth on it, there's no way to give it permanent stealth now.
Except for this card.
Except for this card.
Right, until now.
Yeah.
Any of the spare parts, those were only until end of turn. The new toxin that's coming out, that's 1 mana, give a minion stealth, so end of turn. Or till your next turn. So there's not a way to do it now other than this card. And before, people used this, but it just wasn't tempo enough. But if you could throw it out early, get some benefit out of it, make it a 1-cost 1/1, and then couple it with a big minion. See, right at its current cost, you could only couple it with, unless you have Emperor Thorson, couple it with a 6 mana or less. And there really isn't any 6 mana or less that's terribly terribly effective at being on the board constantly. But if you could do it to like a Malagos, whew.
Yeah. I used to do it to Micro Machine when it first came out.
Ooh, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I was running a mech rogue for a little while.
It makes it a beefed up Shade of Naxxramas.
Yep.
All right, our next card, which is the first that we're going to talk about for the neutral changes. And guys in the chat room, I'm going to forewarn you now. Be prepared, because these two were going at it pre-show. Let's talk about Leper Gnome. Leper Gnome, red, 1 mana, 2/1, Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. It now reads 1 mana, 1/1, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. I'm going to start this so I can step back and get out of the way. I personally think this is fine. I think it's still going to be played. It's just more balanced. People are still going to use it all the time in every deck that they were previously running Leper Gnome in. That being said, Versika, go.
No, let Zero start this one. Go ahead. You go first.
I agree that if you are an aggro-based deck that wants to get the damage out quickly and early, you're going to run this card still. I don't argue that it's a big nerf. It is a big nerf, and it's going to affect a lot of decks. My argument is it's going to affect just about, with the exception of probably Warrior to a point, and Priest definitely. It's going to affect every other class because they all use these in some form of aggro decks. Your turn.
I say dust it. Dust them all. Just plain and simple. I don't think the value is there. I believe with the new set, I think we're going to have a better alternative on turn 1. I think there are already alternatives out there for turn 1 that people don't really consider because Leper Gnome was so good. I mean, Lightning Bolt, 1 mana, 3 damage, and you overload for 1. This was 1 mana for 4 damage if you managed to kill it the turn after it attacked you. It's at least 2 damage for 1 mana without a drawback. So, Croven Blaze was saying in chat, this literally trades with nothing of value. There is not a single card of value that I can think of in this game that this trades well with. Not one.
Well, I'll tell you now. A lot of times I used it to bait out a hero power or bait out an early arcane missile. And If I pop this out next turn to Arcane Missile, it's still 2 damage no matter which way you slice it. If they remove it before it gets to attack them, it doesn't matter whether they have 1 attack or 10 attack. It's only doing 2 damage to them. The 1 health is what's always, to me, made it vulnerable. It was nice it had 2 health. I will still run this in my aggro paladin deck because I want to get something out that contests 1 point of damage, and it'll get me some early damage to face.
In the 2 aggro decks that I run the most, which right now is Aggro Warrior and a form of Aggro Shaman, I do not have this card in either deck. So it doesn't affect me any at all. In fact, I'm thrilled because I've got 3 golden ones that are going to get dusted.
You know, I want to point out, Matt at Arms said, you know what this now works with, right? This is now a great Hobgoblin target. Oh, look at Zerochio's face.
Yes. Hobgoblin. Oh my gosh. What's that make it? A 2/3?
2/2, and don't they get +1/+1?
I thought it was +2/+1. Or +1/+2. Anyways.
I mean, you can still use it if you're playing aggro paladin. You can still use it with the Sword of Justice. But really, yeah. I think honestly, as far as an aggro card goes, I don't think it fits the bill anymore. I think there's better options out there.
Chat room. No, I'm not pulling that card, chat room. I'm not going to acknowledge it. But here's my thing. When it comes to your argument of you have 2 aggro decks and you don't put them in there, the only argument I have with that is you should.
Yeah, Hobgoblin gives it +2/+2, so it'd be a 3/3.
In the 2 aggro decks that I have this in, I average around a 50% win rate. In the 2 aggro decks that I don't have this in, my win rate's over 70%. So I disagree with your statement.
All right, our next card on the list, I'm going to move this on, is another one that is pretty controversial, but again, it's one I think is fine, and that's the Hoot Hoot. Now, a lot of people are saying this change is meaning you're going to start seeing the 4/3 silencer. I can't think of the name right now. Spellbreaker.
Oh.
But Ironbeak Owl went from 2 mana 2/1 silence a minion to 3 mana 2/1 silence a minion. Again, I don't think it's as big of a deal that it went up 1 mana cost. To me, that's not going to be that big of a deal, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Zerochio, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the reason the 2 mana was good is because it could couple with other things in the late game. Couple with a 4 cost on turn 6, couple with a 6 cost on turn 8. You never really put this out on turn 2 that often, except for maybe a Noyotron on the rare occasion that you're using this to get past it. But you honestly didn't use it turn 2. I don't think this totally destroys it. I do agree that you're probably going to see more Spellbreakers, because for 1 more mana you get, what is it, a 4/3?
4/3 body.
I do believe you will still see this in Hunter because of Beast Synergy. And maybe even Druid if they keep pushing this Beast Synergy for Druid. But so far, they haven't really pushed it too much with the new cards from old cards.
Rasika?
I agree with Zerochio. I think if you were playing the Hoot Hoot on turn 2, you were probably doing it wrong. I don't think the 3 mana cost is going to deter people from using it as a neutral silence. So the decks, I don't think you're going to see this in anymore. I don't think you're going to see it in Priest. I don't think you'll see it in Druid, because they already have their own silences. I think you will see it in Hunter because of the Beast Synergy and because it fits in that Hunter awkward turn phase. I think there are ways to make this work. In fact, in some ways, I actually think it may work better as a late game way for Hunter to get past taunts. So I don't think you see the Spellbreaker there. I do think now you're going to start seeing Spellbreaker in some of your more controlling decks. I think you'll see Spellbreaker in Warrior. I think you'll see Spellbreaker in Paladin. I think you see Spellbreaker and Mage. Shaman has Earth Shock. There's no reason to run Iron Beak Owls in there to begin with, so there's no reason to run Spellbreakers either. It's a huge tempo loss. Don't get me wrong. Playing in conjunction with other cards, now you have to really think. It's definitely going to ruin, because I would actually, in my Warrior deck, I would keep one of these back as a combo to run with Garrosh to make sure that he got through. I would silence a taunt or silence something. I do think those combos, those late game combos, you'll see an impact. A lot of the effects now are coming in the form of battle cries, so his effectiveness was limited to begin with.
You might see this used more with Ancient Watcher again, because in the past, turn 2 Ancient Watcher into a turn 3 Iron Beak Owl, you floated a mana. You didn't always want to do that. It fits right in that curve now.
Yeah.
And it's a surprise factor. It's not being done right now. You might see in more controlling decks 2 of these put in, and they might throw in 1 Ancient Watcher.
And actually, Matt at Arms and Let's Surf were bringing up in the chat room that Hunter's Mark is better than the Owl in a lot of Hunter decks. And I think when you had the number of charged minions that you had available in those Hunter decks, I believe Hunter's Mark was better. I think now that the Hunter is going to be moved into more of that mid-range tempo style Hunter, I think now we'll see which one ends up being the better tempo play. My gut instinct is that I still like Hunter's Mark better, even at 1 mana, because they really don't see it coming, and unless you've got a Houndmaster to back up the Iron Beak with, I just don't see it as being as tempo building as before.
Yeah,
I agree in Standard. I think you'll still be in the decks in Wild because of Sludge Belcher and all of the piloted Shredders, Pilot Sky Golem. That's where Iron Beak shined, because even if you did Hunter's Mark that, it's leaving back a minion. And if you silence it, it doesn't leave the minion. So the fact that Hunter's Mark now has more value in Standard because you're losing Sludge Belcher and a lot of those sticky minions, you probably will see less Iron Beak Owl in Standard.
And Krogan brings up a very good point in the chat room, and it's one that I was kind of trying to dance around but didn't really know how to put out there. I think what you're going to see with this now is you're going to see a greedier play. There are things that are going to be really threatening early, and you're just going to be too scared to play it. It's going to be used as a tempo swing instead of a tempo creator. You're going to use it as a way to get past something. So I think its ability now, basically this now becomes a 3 casting cost neutral silence rather than a 2 casting cost minion that happened to have silence with it.
Yeah, and Matt at Arms brings up a good point. You can get this out of Jeweled Scarab now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can also get this out of the new minion and Old Gods that can summon you
a random 3 cost.
A random 3 cost as a
mage, right?
Yeah, it's a mage card.
Yep.
That's the 6 mana 5/5. So, mind you, getting a 2/1 isn't that great a value, but it's a 2/1.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
I will be honest. I would have liked to see them change it to a 1/2.
I don't know. All right. Our next card is the Knife Juggler. Now, I think we had kind of talked that there was rumors that this one was on the chopping block. Knife Juggler is everybody's aggro friend. It's 2 mana, 3/2. When you summon a minion, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. It's now going to be a 2 mana, 2/2. After you summon a minion, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So it's losing 1 attack power. Which, that is kind of big early, because I know a lot of people would like to trade this guy into like your 1/3 minions that you're seeing get dropped more now in the early games, like an early Tunnel Trog or Sir Finley. So you trade into him and he lives. But this, I think, is going to be fine. It's still going to do what you want it to do. This plus Stand Against the Darkness is still going to hit something 5 times with 5 knives. I don't really think this is going to be affected too awful much. Zeroshia, let's start with you this time.
Okay. Do my happy dance. Do my happy dance. I think this is a great nerf. The fact that this guy could trade with another 2-drop that's a 2/3 and get a couple knives off before he does it was just overpowered. I like that its power is taken down to 2/2. I think a 2/2 spot's perfect for it. I think it's still going to be effective. It's still going to have a lot of combo synergy with a lot of your spells that summon minions and sticky minions. But for it to be able to take out a 3 health minion or a 3 mana 3/4 with 1 lucky knife juggle, I think this is a good nerf. I think it'll still be playable, but you're going to see less decks built around it.
Rasika?
I disagree. I don't think it was hit hard enough. I think that this card is too powerful for the early game. I think it should have been left at 3/2, and I think its mana cost should have been raised. I don't think you're going to see this lose any momentum as far as aggro decks go. I think it's still going to be in every aggro deck, and we're still going to have to deal with it every time we come up against aggro deck. The only good news is that I don't think there's going to be as many aggro decks. So luckily, this doesn't this relegates it to a little more of a non-factor, but more indirectly. I think this is a cowardly nerf. I don't think Blizzard wanted to really nerf this one because of the backlash that it was going to get. I will say, more than any other card, this card makes me not want to play Hearthstone. Like, this is one of the cards that I talk about when I say that the meta is boring and that I just don't really feel like playing today. This is one of those cards that makes it that way. So I would have liked to have seen this card be more of a mid. It's used as a combo card anyway. I would like to see it have to be played more in the mid game and be a little bit more punishing for the amount of power that it offers.
I personally believe you're not going to be happy until AC is eulogizing aggro decks. When aggro is dead, you will be happy.
I enjoy. I'm playing an aggro deck on the ladder right now.
Aggro shaman.
I have 2 other aggro decks that I'm playing too.
Are they all shaman?
No, they're not all shaman. Just because I have 8 shaman decks does not mean that
yes, it does. Yes,
shaman.
it does.
But no, I just the problem is that you haven't fixed this for Wild, because Wild people are still going to have to deal with Juggler, Call to Arms, still going to have to deal with
Juggler
still
Force of Nature for 7 mana now instead of 8.
But I don't think they fixed the problem. I think Knife Juggler presents a problem. I don't think they knew how to fix it without taking off a lot of people, so they just didn't.
So you believe that the effectiveness of Knife Juggler is the card text at the mana cost, regardless of what the body is?
Absolutely. Okay. I think the number
That's
of
a fair
times
argument
that it trades high is negligible, because most of the time people are wanting it to stick on the board. You're still going to have to find a way to do 2 damage to it before it starts. Really, its effect is what's the problem. Yeah. So by still allowing it to be on the board at turn 2, this makes this nerf completely inconsequential.
So if this was a 3 mana 3/2, you'd be happy?
If it was a 4 mana 3/2, I would be happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see that. Yeah, Versika's just it got hit with the Nerf bat. It should have been drugged in the dark alley and beat with a Nerf stick.
No, it should have been hit by the Nerf bus.
The Nerf bus.
So, all right, moving on to our next card.
I want to drive the Nerf bus.
I want to own the Nerf bus.
Our next card is the Arcane Golem. This card was a 3 mana 4/2 charge. Battle cry, give your opponent a mana crystal. It's now a 3 mana 4/4 just battle cry, give your opponent a mana crystal. So they increased its toughness by 2 and took away its charge. I have to say, I think this card is dead. I think this is a dust for me. Because a 3 mana 4/4 that doesn't charge and gives your opponent a mana crystal is just too big of a downside for me personally.
Yeah.
Versika?
Well, now that this is a 4/4 that doesn't charge, my Keeper of the Grove targets are probably going to be exclusively Knife Jugglers. I think this card is dead. This is the kind of nerf I would have liked to have seen them hit Knife Juggler with. Make people punish people for playing it. If you're going to play it and it's going to be that powerful, you need to pay a penalty to be able to play a card of that power. And I think that's what they've done here. And I think, I honestly, I don't see a situation where I feel like this card is going to be viable enough for me to put in every deck. It's going to be very situational. And right now, the only thing that I can really think of that I would use it in would be an anti-control priest deck, because it fits right in between their ability
4/4.
to control, and it's hard to deal with in the same way that an injured blade master is hard for them to deal with. So I think it has a place, but I think it went from a very wide aggro ranged role to a very defined role that's going to be a counter to, possibly a counter to some heavy control decks. It's menacing enough, like a Yeti almost, that you have to deal with it. But now you're going to be forced into an awkward situation of how you deal the 4 damage to it. Like, I play a lot of Shaman, so from a Shaman standpoint, how do I deal 4 damage to it? Well, really, unless I want to trade something in and waste a Rock Biter on something, I'm going to have to use a Lava Burst, or I'm going to have a Spell Power Totem and fire a Lightning Bolt off at it. Well, there are better targets for those, but if I leave this on the board, it's going to trash me, especially on turn 3. So I can see where it might have value. I just don't think it's going to be the same type of value that we're used to seeing from it. In my opinion, I still say dusted.
Zeroshio?
This card's not dead.
It's not
nerfed
dead
bad.
yet.
It's not,
not dead
I'm
yet.
not dead yet. I think I'll go for a walk now. But I don't have charge, so it's gotta wait a turn. Anyways, I could see this going in a tempo Druid deck where they're kind of trying to get Druid to go to. We'll get minions out early, get big minions out early, and make value trades. If you put this out with Innervate on turn 1, they got to deal with a 4/4 on turn 1. Now, you do give them a mana crystal, but Druid is a perfect class because then you offset giving them a mana crystal by using your minions that give you mana crystals. So I think this has a home in a tempo Druid, but if you're not a big tempo Druid fan or a big tempo fan anyways, I would dust it. It does have it's going to be a niche card. It's got a spot, but it's a very small one.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things. You pull this often enough that they're offering full dust value for it now. Dust it now. It'll be easy to craft later.
Yeah.
And see, I've been saving up all my cards I've been getting from packs from Arena and not dusting anything, so that when these new things come out, I get the full value from all the extra. I think I got 6-7 of some of the cards.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go through tonight or tomorrow, one of these 2 nights, and go ahead and dust everything except for those handful of cards.
Yeah. All right. Our next to last card, we got 2 more. So next to last is the Big Game Hunter. Now this is one we all knew was coming. There'd been a lot of talk about it. Big Game Hunter was a 3 mana 4/2 battle cry, destroy a minion with an attack of 7 or more. It's now a 5 mana 4/2 destroy a minion with an attack of 7 or more. I'm just gonna say, having seen the gods and all the big cards that are coming out, at 5 mana, I think you still run 2 of these. Zeroshio?
Yeah. I mean, the only reason it was super strong is you could kill a big 7-8 turn drop and still have room to do stuff that turn. This makes an even trade and puts a nominal 4/2 minion on the board. It's probably pretty easy to deal with, but the value is getting rid of that big, huge minion. And everybody's concerns and old God was, well, these new big minions are coming out. What's going to happen with Big Game Hunter? Is Big Game Hunter gonna just kill any big minion that I build a deck around? And to that I say, if your deck is built around 1 or even 2 big giant minions, and the death of them totally dumpsters your game plan in your deck, then maybe you shouldn't build a deck around it. You should always have a secondary plan, maybe a system that works around it. I think you'll have enough big minions that you might have 3, 4, maybe 5 big minions at decent 7, 8 mana cost that they're not going to have enough big game hunters for.
All right, Versika?
I think this is the poster child for what a balanced and fair nerf should be. This is the nerf that I had said a couple weeks ago that I felt was coming. You can't take away the only neutral ability to kill a large creature. You can't take that away. I know a lot of people were wanting this to take away the ability to destroy a creature with attack 7 or more. You can't take that away from classes that don't have a way to deal with that. And you have classes that don't have ways to deal with those minions. You may have a way to silence the effect, but you don't have a way to deal with the body on the board. You can't remove that. By making it a 5 casting cost and forcing it to punish you for playing that powerful ability, by not really being able to play a lot more on that turn, I feel like brings this card into balance. And I think the 4/2 body on the board, yes, it dies to a Keeper of the Grove. But the point was you were using
it. It doesn't die to a leopard, no.
Exactly. It doesn't die to a leopard, no. It does definitely. Now, unlike the Knife Juggler, this is not an inconsequential nerf. You are going to have to make a choice with this. And in my opinion, just seeing what I've seen of the new set, you're probably going to always run 1, if not 2 of these. You're going to have to choose when to play them, and you're going to have to be aware, especially if you're a Shaman player, you're going to have to be aware of overloading. You're going to have to be aware of what you can play in conjunction with it, because it will kill a tempo play. I mean, you're playing this, you're probably not playing much else that's powerful, and if they happen to have, they put that powerful minion on the board, if they got another one lined up right behind it, it's going to be hard to deal with. So I believe that's why this makes this still a fair and balanced card. I think the 5 mana cost makes this a fair and balanced card.
Or like Mad at Arms says, this makes Deathwing Dragonlord better, because if you do use your big game hunter to kill that Deathwing, what dragons are going to bring out that you'll need a big game hunter for?
Exactly. But
dragons.
But what if
dragons.
you didn't? What if you didn't have big game hunter in the game?
I mean, the only classes that can deal with it are priest
and warrior. Really,
warrior, and well, you have mage and shaman have polymorphs.
Right, mage, and really, that's what you're saying. If you take big game hunter out, you're going to have to play a class that can manage a big minion with a small amount of resources. This makes you manage a big minion with a moderate amount of resources, and I think that that's a good decision.
All right, and our last card that got nerfed today was the Molten Giant. So Molten Giant was a 20 mana 8/8, costs 1 less for each damage your hero has taken. So previously, you could cast this for 0 mana at turn 10. Now it's
with 10 health.
With 10 health.
10 health, yeah,
for 0 mana. Now it's a 25 mana 8/8, costs 1 less for each damage your hero has taken. So now you have to be at 5 health to cast it for 0 mana. Thoughts on this, Versika?
You remember what I said about Seleucus having to be at Renoing at 19 in order to survive the next turn? That deck was standard. I don't think you can afford to go down to 5 health even with the meta moving away from a more aggro-centric. I still think you're going to have to deal with combo cards. I still think getting below 10 health, and with a lack of real healing options, I don't feel like this is a viable card anymore. I say if you've got them, go ahead and dust them. Frost Giant, in my opinion, is a better version of this card anyway.
Oh, you stole my thoughts. I think when you're talking about 4 Warlock, the hand lock, Frost Giant's going to be better because, yes, this lowers the hero power lowers your health to get into multi-giant range, but it also lowers the cost of the Frost Giant. So it's a good trade. So if you have Frost Giant, you should swap it in place of this in your hand lock. That being said, they specifically stated that the reason they're doing this is because they believe that you're able to get such a large creature out too soon. And they believe there are other balance changes that are kind of getting rid of the more combo-centric burst damage with Blade Flurry and with things like, Druid combo, that it will be less risky to get down to 5 health. Do I agree? Not necessarily. The problem is everybody thinks if you don't get Molten Giant on the board for 0 mana, it's not worth the tempo play. I think a 5 cost 8/8 is fine. Too many people hold it in their hand thinking, well, I can't put it out because it costs 5. Why not? Get that 8/8 on the board, start threatening, especially now with the increased cost of Big Game Hunter. Having this out, using 5 mana to cast this is not a huge detriment. And I think being at 10 health, casting this for 5, that's still got value.
Just remember, you get full value for this. You will be able to dust your Moltens and immediately turn around and craft a Frost Giant in its place. I highly recommend that you do that. Frost Giant also works with Jiraxis. Molten Giant does not.
Yes, and I would agree with you there that Frost Giant's value just went up.
Yeah. All right. So that does it for all the nerfs for the classic cards that we've seen. That brings us to this week's eulogy. And guys, I'm excited. I love this card.
Me too, because I haven't had a chance to hear the eulogy yet. Because I've been very busy.
I'm not
guys. I know we're running long. We still do have a play portion, so yeah, it's coming.
Yeah,
we're just big news. We had to run a little long. So.
With this week, I present to you the eulogy from AC.
Tonight, dear mourners, we remember a minion of few words and many grunts. Everyone, raise a glass to Zombie Chow. Quite possibly the best neutral 1-drop in Hearthstone, and the absolute worst turn 10 top deck. My friends, we will never forget our real confusion upon first encountering Zombie Chow. Is it supposed to be food that zombies eat? It seemed reasonable, if one assumes an analogy to Puppy Chow. Why, then, does a card show a zombie? Are they eating each other? Actually, now that I think of it, that's pretty reasonable. Or, is it possibly a first and last name? Call for Mr. Chow? Mr. Zombie Chow? Mr. Chow, may I just call you Zombie, my friend? Zombie, we will miss having a solid 1-drop in Zoo. We will miss dropping Akanai after you, trading up into a Knife Juggler and smacking our opponent to face for 5 damage. Still, you were a fickle friend. Why did you so often arrive as our final card as we hit fatigue, staring into a burning pit of emptiness where our cards once resided? Why would you rescue a face hunter long enough for them to finish us off? We may never understand, but as we say farewell, may I simply send you off with one last yarg.
All right. So, guys, next week will be the 27th of April, and it will also be a day after. It'll be a day after Standard comes out, And so, if you remembered when we first started doing these, we said we would do them until Standard comes out. So next Wednesday will be our final eulogy for cards going to Standard. So, with that said, we want you guys to help us decide what the final eulogy should be. So, AC created a survey. Just click on the link in chat. It'll also be in the show notes if you're listening to the audio portion. You can find it on our website at heropowerhs.com. You have 5 options to choose from. It'll either be Haunted Creeper, Death Lord, Shade of Naxxramas, Mal'Ganis, or Dark Cultist. So, as AC said, in the spirit of Whispers of the Old God card reveals, we're giving you the choice. Go vote, guys. We can't wait to see what the final result will be. The survey will close on Monday, April 25th, so AC has a couple of days to put the eulogy together. So go check it out. And with that, it's time to talk about this week's deck. So this week, we've been doing the deck recipes, and one of the deck recipes is a Shadow Priest deck. Well, we got to looking at it, and it requires some cards that actually none of us have, mainly Prophet Valen. And so we got to looking at what was being played in the current ladder, and Versika has been seeing this Shadow Priest deck that he calls Shadow Stalker. So the deck consists of our 2 recently departed Zombie Chow, 1 Shadow Word Pain, 2 Unstable Ghoul, 1 Shadow Word Death, 2 Shadow Form, 2 Acolyte of Pain, 2 Death Lord, 2 Sinjin Shieldmaster, 2 Tournament Medics, 2 Excavated Evils, 1 Holy Nova, 2 Antique Killbot, 2 Sludge Belcher, 1 Vol'jin, 1 Entomb, 1 Holy Fire, 2 Light Bombs, 1 Cobble Shadow Priest, and 1 Kodo Rider. So Versika, why don't you tell us a little bit more about this deck?
Well, first of all, I actually did play the Shadow deck from the deck recipe. Prophet Velen is one of the finishers, but it really, you had to be effective throughout the whole game. I don't feel like in this meta that this deck will shine, but I do feel like once Standard hits, that the Shadow deck from the deck recipe is going to be very effective. So we're not giving up on it. We're not saying that it's ineffective. I'm saying, in my experience, it's ineffective in this meta on the ladder. I actually took it into casual and ran up against 8 straight rogues, which was crazy. Vontae's was over here as I was finishing up, I think.
I blame Dog.
It was crazy.
He's made Rogue popular after his recent tournament.
Yeah.
It's like, where did all the rogues go? Well, they went to casual.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was a deck that I actually first saw played against Brian Kibler on his stream, and it kind of took him off guard, and then I think he made some tweaks to it and actually turned it into like a Reno Shadow Priest, which is really cool if you haven't seen it. But we're not going to play that one out. We've already done Reno enough. This deck does a really good job handling early game aggro, and then relies on Vol'jin, a combination of Vol'jin, Holy Fire, and the Kodo Rider to really finish off late game just by outlasting your opponent, basically controlling the board and out-tempoing your opponent in the end game. If you're lucky enough to get the tournament medic early, it's really easy to stay ahead of most of the aggro decks because they have a hard time handling the 8 health of the tournament medic. It's a solid deck. It's a steady deck. I don't find myself getting very many dead draws, so I like the fact that it's consistent and methodical. It's my kind of deck. It's consistent and methodical.
Okay. So, what is your primary? What are you looking for as your primary kill mechanic here?
primary kill mechanic for me is usually getting them to waste everything, getting them to waste all their removal, and surviving long enough to get Kodo Rider out. Kodo Rider healing myself or the tournament medic, and the tournament medic healing me also generates the 3/5 Kodo, and it's just, at that point, you just swarm them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I've played this deck before as well, and I agree that having that Kodo Rider out and keeping that tempo going, honestly, you whittle them away every turn with the Shadow form.
Yeah, if you can get Shadow form early.
Yeah, and especially if you get Tournament Medic where you're healing and doing damage.
Yeah.
It's just great tempo, and you almost, there's not really, you just grind them out. It's kind of like the old Grinder Rogue. Remember the old Grinder Rogue deck or Grinder Mage? Those two decks where you just basically just pick them away slowly and keep tempo on the board until you just win.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically this is a fatigue deck. I do tend to play it more aggressively, so we will win or lose quicker than you're used to seeing.
Okay, cool. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and check it out. So, if you guys are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you're listening via the audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us at this time. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast, and you can find our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers, or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you can help to support and improve it by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. As always, we'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
So while Patrick is changing, or while Avantes is changing over really quick, I do want to bring up again, you only have 3 weeks left if you want to take advantage of the Vi-Force deal. And I particularly want to talk about the Vi-Force element. This computer isn't even out yet. You guys are going to get the first shot at this machine. It's an entry-level gaming machine. It's $450, and you're going to get $25 off that just by saying you want the element and you want to use your hero power in the notes section. If you have any questions, go to our website, heropowerhs.com, click on the Vi-Force link, and they'll be happy to answer. It'll take you to their website. They'll be happy to answer any questions about it. Can we put the stats up on the website, Patrick, for this one? Or Avantes? Sorry, I keep calling you Patrick.
The stats for what?
For the element.
Yeah, absolutely. I will. I'll get that put up tomorrow, probably, as I'm doing everything. And also, we do have a Vi-Force Gaming representative in the chat. If you guys have any questions about that.
Yes, guys, I can't tell you enough. I actually, real quick, got on while we're getting started. Let me know when you're ready to spectate me.
Whenever you're ready to queue in.
Okay, I'm queued up. I was actually on Twitter with D2, and he was talking about needing a machine. And I got in just a little bit late, but I told him about Vi-Force's site, and he had already ordered his machine. But we talked a little bit about it, and it's a great machine for the price. So it's pretty awesome. And when a Hearthstone master like D2 is looking at your machine, it's a good sign.
Yeah. So check it out. Go to our website, heropowerhs.com. Click on the Vi-Force link on the right-hand side. So all right.
So we've got the coin. I like the zombie chow. I like the unstable ghoul. Really,
I like the Sinjin.
I like the Sinjin too.
With
the only
coin.
thing I'm thinking is throwing back the Cabal Shadow Priest and trying to get an evacuated evil early or shadow form.
Excavated.
Excavated evil. I always play that.
Evacuated evil's what I have after I have
Taco Bell.
Yeah, Taco Bell food for dinner. Tacos.
And got a second Sinjin, so.
All right. We are playing a mage, so we'll see
Yep.
what.
There's that tournament medic.
I have played this person a few times because I remember their name.
Yeah, I do too. I pretty much only ever get golden heroes and legend card backs now. It's kind of frustrating. But I know I'm playing good. I know I'm playing good quality opponents, I guess.
This is probably Tempo Mage.
Yeah.
Because I'm familiar with
Unless he switched up, which I don't see him playing. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I don't see him playing freeze. Not his style.
Let's just say I'm very familiar with these nuts.
I'm not going to say that ever.
No. So he played a mad scientist on his turn. So now it's our turn.
Yeah, we drew anti-killbot, which will be good for later. So now the question is, do we kill the mad scientist and go ahead and heal the zombie chow? Or do we go face and force him to run the mad scientist into zombie chow?
I think. What about going face and forcing him to run the zombie chow or run the mad scientist into the
Unstable
ghoul?
Yeah.
That's what.
Because then he has to hit it, ping, and it kills off the mad scientist.
I'm okay with that. So we'll go face. Unstable.
We're not terribly worried about early damage. We have the tournament medic. We have the anti-kill bot.
Yeah. I'm not going to listen to his stuff. This guy likes to spam emotes all the time. So
Yeah,
go ahead and squelch him.
Yeah, he likes to BM hard. And that's what we wanted him to do.
You know what
Yep.
they say about these nuts. His closest friend is an a-hole.
Oh, yes! That is not what he wanted to happen. You're running in. I'm tempted just to go ahead and heal the zombie chow.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Okay.
Because I really want to see.
If that's ice barrier.
Yeah, it's not. Okay.
So
So we know
I
that
expect
this
it
is
to be
probably
counterspell.
I expect it to be mirror entity, which is another reason why I didn't really want to throw anything that I've got down. The last thing we want is for him to get a tournament medic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless we have a couple Shadow Priest.
Yeah. This is actually a problem.
What do you think about tossing out the coin just to test for counterspell next turn?
I will absolutely do that.
Because if it pops a counterspell, then we can just start unloading.
The good news is he has kind of an awkward turn here as well. He probably has removal in his hand, and he doesn't really want to waste a Frostbolt on a Zombie Chow. Or he doesn't have Frostbolt and he's got like a Fireball, and he doesn't really want to waste it on a Zombie Chow.
And he ropes a lot, just for the record.
Yeah. He knows if he throws out a Sorcerer's Apprentice, I'm just going to run the Chow into it. He doesn't really have a good play here. I would just probably Hero Power Pass if I were him. But
Wow, he's straight roped.
yep. Okay, so
Coin?
first.
It is not a counterspell. So Sludge Belcher?
No, we'd rather him have a Singeon and burn the mana. Because next turn I can just use Vol'jin on it.
Yeah. Run face first. Well. Oh?
Okay, so it's duplicate.
Or it could also be Ice Block.
I doubt it's Ice Block. He tends to not run Ice Block, so my bet is...
I want to say I saw him use a spell, but this is a weird list. We don't
So
have
we
a good
drew-
way to clear that at all.
No, right now in our hand we have Sinjin, Shieldmaster, Tournament Medic, Anti-Killbot, Vol'jin, Sludge Belcher, and we just drew a Light Bomb. We don't have a way to clear both of the... the mirror images. And see, here's the thing. If we clear both of them, then he may get... If it is a duplicate, then he'll get 2 Doomsday. I'd rather roll the dice and let him...
Let's
draw the
clear
chance to
one.
get-
Let's
the
clear
mirror.
one so he gets 2 mirrors. If
So it's not a
du-
duplicate.
not a duplicate.
So it is
I think
a
it's
Spellbender.
Spellbender. And then
How crazy is
Hero
that?
Power pass, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, we could have put out Sludge Belcher, guarantee a 1-2, but he doesn't have enough board presence.
Nah. So I've not seen him run this list.
No.
And that's sort of the disadvantage you run into when you see the same players on ladder time and again.
This sounds like a Sludge Belcher play.
Yep, I think so too. Sludge Belcher for the win.
And again, we're just going to tempo out. We're going to make sure that we just get value trades every turn.
Right.
And we may not get 3 games in tonight. We hope to, but
We knew the show was going to run a little long.
and it may next week too. Just a little bit. Huh?
I don't know that we're going to have a lot of opportunity to use Light Bomb
That's what I
in
was
this
thinking.
deck. I'm thinking this is a great Light Bomb. And I know it's awkward. We're still leaving 1 mana on the board, but that Snow
Yeah.
Chugger is going to become a problem.
Yes, it will. Is this a mech mage?
No, he got the I don't know. Maybe.
No, he got the doggy out of
He
there.
got the
He
wolf out of it.
cast the chugger.
So we drew a Shadow Word Death. There's really only a couple of targets that I feel like he might have in his deck that are worth that. So it's good to have it, but I don't think we'll be using it unless Uncle Andy makes an appearance.
You mean Uncle Tony?
Uncle Tony.
Uncle
Tony. Andy.
I call him Andy.
He's from Andy's down in Hoboken.
Andy makes him a little less scary. Tony's very mafia.
That's right. Uncle
If he's
Tony,
playing
that's what you
Grinder
call him,
Mage,
Uncle
this is
Tony.
going to be a long game.
I think could be Grinder Mage. It could very well be Grinder Mage.
I have been known to steal my own tournament medic's health with Vol'jin before.
And you know my saying that Hearthstone is usable on mobile devices, so if they're roping, they might be wiping. This is a good Vol'jin, but we don't have anything that keeps him from running into the Vol'jin after we don't have a way to kill it.
I'm actually thinking Death Lord, Acolyte of Pain, Hero Power here. I feel like that's our best tempo play.
Either that or Deathlord Vol'jin. Either one. I like either play.
Death Lord Vol'jin works too.
Does that put the taunt on the board?
Yeah. That's the more aggressive play too. I like it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
I mean, the
So,
Deathlord doesn't... Well, I guess Deathlord would kill the...
Yep,
Oh,
Deathlord
that's
would
right.
kill the frost.
The reason I thought it was going to be 3 health. Yep.
Yes,
It would have been
sir.
better value, but what's he going to do? Ooh. We do have the Shadow form and the tournament medic, but we're not really that low in health. I think we're more value popping the Ysera with Vol'jin and then working on healing him up.
yeah, I
Put
think so
another,
too.
you put another taunt down. Or you could throw the Acolyte down. Either
What
way.
would you think about putting Tournament Medic on the board now, running into Ysera with Vol'jin and then healing him so that it heals us back up to 30?
That works too.
Yeah.
That works. Yeah. And it still gives us room to put out the Acolyte Pain if you want.
Yep. And I think we're going to do that. So Acolyte of Pain on the board, hit Ysera for 6, heal Vol'jin, Tournament
heals us
Medic
for
will
2.
heal us, and we'll pass.
We're saying, what is he playing? And he's probably saying, what are they playing?
see what he gets out of the Death Lord here.
That's
Great
not
play.
That's-
And why I wanted the Death Lord to hit. I was
Yeah.
hoping to draw out something that had a battle cry that I could take advantage of.
no spells for you.
So there are a few Shadow Word Death targets in the deck. I'm going to go ahead and use it on the Ethereal.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and heal up Vol'jin.
Wait. Yeah, okay, yeah. You love Vol'jin.
Use him to clear
Ysera.
And then here, I think I go ahead and Shadow Form.
I'd run in the Acolyte first,
See what you draw.
and then Shadow Form and finish off the...
Okay.
Yeah.
So Acolyte into the Mana Worm. Shadow Form resets my hero power, turning
That's
it
right.
into Mind Spike, and I use the Mind Spike on the Mana Worm.
And that's a thing to note. Anything that changes your hero power will reset your hero power. And I think this is Ice Block. I think he's Grinder Mage, and I think this is definitely Ice Block. Because the Spellbender would have taken that Shadow or Death, even though it wouldn't be a legal target.
Yep.
Arcane Explosion.
Now that's a shame. We can't target that with hero power, but that's fine. Sludge Belcher. Do we go ahead and just start getting aggressive and going face?
I think so. We'll go ahead and Zombie Chow as well.
Okay.
Hero power to the face.
And what's nice is if you have the Shadow Form, the next Shadow Form gives you 3 damage instead of 2. But you can use your
Yes, I'm ahead on
hero
cards.
power.
Sorry, chat was asking if I was ahead on cards.
Yeah. You can use your hero power, then get the upgraded hero power and use it again. This is a weird list.
So do we want to take his Flame Waker?
I would.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would.
Flame Waker is getting taken.
He wants that heal. Ooh, Excavate Evil's good too.
I'm going to continue going face.
Now, do we hero power or do we go ahead and throw down the Senjin for more?
I think we hero power just in case he's running a Flame Strike.
Hero power the 2/2 or?
Face.
Yeah, hopefully he's only running the one secret. And this way he can't clear all the taunts.
Exactly, that's
Without
what I
a
was
spell.
worried about, him clearing both taunts.
He does have a second secret. So now we'll get to see next turn what other secret he's running. And I'm willing to bet, I think chat earlier mentioned Effigy. I'm willing to bet it's probably an Effigy.
Could be.
You can go ahead and end turn.
Oh, thought I already had. Sorry about that, guys.
Just giving him a little taste of his own medicine.
Don't need to make this run any longer than it has to.
Yeah, Waker Holy Nova is a good combo if we have the Waker next turn. I don't know if I would have Waker Holy Nova that turn, because it still doesn't take us too much out of range of the effect of a Flame Strike.
We drew out a Fireball, though.
Yeah.
And we couldn't take both of them because of we didn't have enough mana with Couple Shadow Priest.
So now I'm thinking that this is probably, if he's running counter spell, and it's not. Okay, so we know it's not a counter spell.
So this is a odd Freeze Mage. It's like a freeze tempo Freeze Mage, but
Yeah, so now you know you can drop your Sinjin without it getting
Yep.
Yeah.
and then
And I
hero
think-
power face, keep going.
Should we Holy Nova here?
I wouldn't, because he probably has at least one more Flame Waker.
True.
The only reason I would Holy Nova is if we're wanting to bait out a counterspell, and we know that's probably Ice Block at this point, because that's not a counterspell.
Yeah. He definitely didn't want us having that, did he?
Oh, but we can just, like I said, we just grind them out at this point.
Yeah.
Just keep going. He clearly is not a way to deal with our board.
Yeah, the tournament medic is actually a harder card to deal with than you would think.
The 1/8 is just amazing.
Yeah. I don't think he's Reno. I do think it's a grinder freeze mage style. So I'm going to hit him with my shadow form. Cast shadow form again. So hit him for another 3 with my hero power. Keep running face with my minions, putting him at 9.
I've had this happen to me before. If you find a way to get a shadow form after you're already doing the 3 damage via like a thought steal or, something that gives you a spell. I had somebody do a spell slinger and I got a 3rd one. It still stays 3, but it resets your hero power, so you do 6 damage that turn.
Oh wow, that's good to know.
So 5/5, we're actually going to have a little bit of trouble with that.
You
A little bit.
Light bomb to kill it, but
To be honest, light bomb would kill it. We could actually light bomb on. He's proven he really can't do much board damage. Next turn, we could Holy Nova with whatever he puts out.
So light bomb, you think is the play?
Yeah, I think so. It's either that or
Light
excavate
bomb.
evil with the hero power, but you get the same result either way.
Yeah. He'd go to the face with the tournament medic.
Hmm.
He froze our Sinjin with the frost element, frost elemental.
there's Uncle Tony.
There he is.
Wow. A fireball on that minion. Now we can pop the block. But we can't. He'll be popped at 2 health.
Any way we go about it, won't he?
Yeah.
So I think we Holy Nova here to heal up this engine.
Okay. I mean, it still trades regardless.
Yeah, and then we run this engine to face, and then we do 3 damage to Uncle Tony.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
So
Do we go
pop
ahead and
the
put out
block.
the Death Lord, though?
Oh, yeah. So we're going to deal 3 to Uncle Tony.
And we probably should have attacked first and then Holy Nova, putting him at 2, but it really doesn't matter because our hero power does 3 damage.
Right. And that's why I didn't worry about the...
Because even an ice barrier won't
Right.
stop him because we just won't attack first.
Oh,
it
there's
is
the
a
Reno.
Reno! Good call, Man-at-Arms. Good call.
Wow. And he bounced it back to his head. But see, he's going to be in fatigue. And we
And
have
we
anti-heal bots.
We have
Now
anti-heal
he's
bots, and we still have another tournament medic.
He's getting fireballs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. See, his Archfiend Ananias is going to die at the beginning of the turn. Why? I don't know why he used that on there. He won't get any value from his spells. I don't get that.
He's got 3 fireballs in his hand. He's got
Yeah.
probably a roaring torch. So that's 24.
Does he
I
have a
don't
minion?
know.
That actually hurts him.
Oh,
That's
it's still
maybe
something
not.
we have to deal with.
Yeah. Ooh. We only have 1 Shadow of Death.
I would play the ghoul for sure.
Yeah. Because if we play the ghoul and he runs into it, we can double excavate evil next turn.
Yeah.
Sounds bad, but... And actually, at this point, the Acolyte of Pain hurts us. Because we don't want to be drawing too much.
I hate that we've not drawn the Kodo Rider.
Yeah, the Kodo Rider is great value.
Yeah.
So here's the problem with the excavated evil now. If we use it to clear, it gives him additional cards into his library, keeps
That's
him
true.
further away from
But see,
fatigue.
that's fine because we got the tournament medic. We want to hold on to that and use it for late game.
So I'm saying we drop the antique heal bot and 3 to his face again.
Sounds fine to me.
Do we want to just go ahead and do 3 to boom so it trades even with the heal bot?
No, because we can always do it next turn if we want. And that
Okay.
gives him the choice of going to face or clearing the antique heal bot with a spell or boom.
But see, that way if he clears it with a spell, we can still kill the anti-kill bot. Because we're at the point now he doesn't have that many more minion threats. And we're going to win the fatigue race because of tournament medic.
I'm okay with it.
I'd go ahead and
We'll
do
hit
it
the
so the
boom.
next turn. Yeah.
That's what I was afraid would happen. It would encourage. I think if we'd have left it at 7-6, he might have cleared the heal bot. But we clear with the heal bot now, so it's
Yeah. That's not very good value for his heal bot.
Or
Ooh.
we could entomb.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and entomb Dr. Boom.
Entomb
Yeah.
it and then use the hero power on his heal bot
And go face.
and
with ours.
go face. Yeah. Keeping that presence. See, when he runs out
Wait, hold on. We're at 21. He's got 3 fireballs in hand and a roaring torch. That's 24.
He's used one fireball.
Yeah.
He hit
He's
us in
used
the
one
face
on-
with one already.
Right, but he had
And he-
3 more, right?
He
I thought
also
he
used
only
one
had
on the
3
tournament
total.
medic. He also got rid of the tournament medic with one.
Yeah.
That's an option.
No, I think he's got us. No, he doesn't have enough to cast all of them in one turn.
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. And we can get tournament medic down and start using our hero power, and we should outpace him. See, now he's pinging. That's a threat. I wouldn't do the boom yet.
No, I don't think
I like-
so either.
I mean, we could either heal bot.
I'm
and give
thinking
us-
tournament medic.
I am too.
No, wait. If we do tournament medic, he may cast his fireballs on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Heal bot to go ahead and put us to 29. That's out of range,
Yeah,
and just keep working on him.
I agree.
We want tournament medic out when we're both at fatigue, and he has no way to get rid of it.
Yeah,
Because then we win
because
off the heals.
two cards in our deck. One of these is Kodo Rider.
Because that's a 5-point split. We're doing 3 damage to him and healing for 2 every turn,
Yeah,
which is in a sense 5 points of value.
So he's going to clear the board.
That's fine. That's another good one.
Yeah,
To hang
we
on
want to
to.
hold on to that.
Do you want to
Yeah.
hero power Dr. Boom?
I think Hero Power Boom is the play here.
This is a good game.
This has been a really good game.
Contrary to my past games with this gentleman, this has been a very good game.
Well, it helps that we squelched him.
Oh, that too. See, he's just stalling now. He's running out of.
Oh!
Ooh, big game hunter.
That's game. That's
Yep.
legal.
Yeah, we win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
with
has.
with Holy Fire,
Yep.
we win. I would thank him for his wonderful game. And there's a Kodo Rider.
Go ahead and Holy Fire.
Good match.
Woo!
And that's how this deck
Okay.
runs.
So, Do we have time to play one more?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do one more? Okay.
Sure.
I know we're running long, but we felt like those nerfs were worth talking about.
In
So,
baseball, when a baseball game goes long, it's free baseball. In
Free
hero
baseball.
power, it's free hero power.
That's right. We will probably only do one more match tonight, so 2.
If we split, build the deck on your own. See how you do with it. Oh God, it's me in the feels.
This is probably aggro shaman. We're probably gonna have a hard time with it.
I'm thinking we probably want to hold on to that Shadow Word Pain. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, probably gonna hold on to.
I don't think we need the Shadow Word Death.
No, or the light bomb. I do want to hold on to the shadow form though.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have shadow form, light bomb, shadow word death, shadow word pain. We're going to throw back light bomb and shadow word death, keeping pain and shadow form.
Yes, yes.
And we got Vol'jin.
Excavate Evil is actually not bad if this is aggro.
All right, so we drew Sinjin Masters, Sinjin Shield Master. We have the coin. We're going to go ahead and pass turn.
Yes.
Depending on what he throws.
Totem.
This could be Totem Shaman.
Yeah.
Could be. It's been in favor again.
Pass.
I think we could get really good value out of shadow form if we put it out early.
Do you think we coin it out now?
I think if we wait for too much longer, I think we're going to have a hard time fitting it in against his team.
I agree. That's what I was thinking. It seems a little greedy, but I would go for it. I'd coin out Shadow Form. That's greedy because we can't get an early Sludge Belcher or Senjin, but we probably won't need it if we can clear out anything he puts out.
Yeah.
But at this point, if he puts any I would imagine at this point if he has Spectral Wolves, he'll play.
That or this will be a Tuskar Totemic turn.
Right. At which point we get to kill the Totemic.
Right.
Yeah. No?
Okay, so we don't really have a play this turn. We'll have Sinjin next turn.
So
I
you
like
shoot-
that we have
shoot the
4,
taunt.
5, and 6 done, so I think we go ahead and shoot the Healing Stream Totem.
Yeah.
Okay.
As I said it for a long time, I think Shaman has the worst hero power in the game because it's a random totem. If you could pick your totems, I would say it would be one of those medium,
Well, you
Like-
can with Justicar Trueheart.
right? But who wants to do that? I think for this turn, it is turn 4.
Sinjin?
I think the Sinjin is the play.
I'm just
Ice.
wondering. He's not done anything. Is he only reactive? Is he just? I think he just has removal in his hand.
Well, I think playing the Shadow form early probably eliminated the Tuskar Totemic play because he knows it's just going to get bolted down.
Joey says this is a match of hero power on hero power.
That's right. This
On hero
power,
power.
hero power, action, baby.
Yeah. Hero power versus hero power on hero power.
And that was actually great. I love that he did that because this gives us a great value turn 5 Holy Nova.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah. This is value. This is like a coin roll of value right there.
Sweet.
And you have to remember, once you have your shadow form out, the only form of healing is through your cards. You can't use your hero power.
Right.
So you need your tournament medics. You need your Holy Nova.
There's those feral
Yeah.
spirits. So now, this is kind of a tricky turn. You would think that the play would be Cabal Shadow Priest. I'm actually fishing for something different. And I'll explain it if I see it.
Why wouldn't you?
Because I only have the one Cabal Shadow Priest.
What are you thinking that you might be fishing for?
Now that it's past turn 6, I want to steal that Flame Tongue totem when it comes back out, or a Mana Tide totem to help me get to my tournament mythic faster. So what I'm probably going to do here is I'm probably going to Shadow Word Pain one of the Spectrals, run this engine into the other, hero power the...
What about Excavated
Taunt
Evil?
totem.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
could excavate evil, and then throw out the zombie chow.
I hate that that puts this engine into lightning bolt range, but he'll probably bolt the zombie chow.
But that means he uses the lightning bolt. I mean,
True. And when he throws out the Thunder Bluff Valiant, I'm going to steal its health with Vol'jin.
yeah, definitely. You think he
hate
has a
getting-
totem carver in his hand? That's why he's been trying to load the board up with totems?
Oh, I'm sure he does. %100 certain.
Means we'll probably see it next turn, which should also be a good Vol'jin target.
Yeah.
I think he also has Thunder Bluff Valiant.
There's the powered up Lightning Storm.
Yeah.
That's not great value for him. That's probably why he thought about it, because now he's also overloaded again.
So,
Yeah.
Sludge Belcher hero power here?
I think so.
Kill off that totem.
Yeah, so we just drew an Unstable Ghoul. That's actually not a dead card in this deck, which I like the fact that it's not. But I am going to Sludge Belcher and hero power the totem. Keeping the totems off the board is the key to beating this Shaman deck.
Yeah, it's another threat. Is Bloodlust. Man at Arms mentions in chat. Bloodlust is becoming a one of again.
Yep, it's making a comeback.
Yep.
Oh, there's the Hex.
That's probably the best hex target in here, except for maybe Vol'jin. But we have another one.
Oh, Kodo
Ooh.
Rider hero power.
After
I
he's
like
used
it.
a hex.
So Kodo Rider hits the board. And now we play Shaman's game. We control the board.
Let's see, if he has another hex, it's got to hit that Kodo Rider.
Yeah.
I'd almost be tempted to put 2 Kodo Riders in this deck.
Well, the other thing too is he actually kind of hurt himself, because if he's got Doomhammer, Rockbiter in his hand, which I actually run one of each, one Doomhammer and 2 Rockbiters in this deck. That's the only way he can really finish off the Kodo Rider. But he taunted the Sludge Belcher up anyway, instead of just like lightning shot or earth shocking it, because he wasted the earth shock on the Sinjin. So he would have to Rockbiter and hero power a 0/1 Toad.
Him earth shocking the Sinjin brings more validity to the fact that it could have a Bloodlust in his hand.
What I'm going to do is when the deck there's the other earth shock. When the deck when everything turns standard Vol'jin, I'm going to take out the Vol'jin and put in another Kodo Rider. I know that was directed at Zerotio,
But if you were going to do it currently, an Excavated Evil out would probably be fine.
Maybe an Unstable Ghoul. Take out one of the 2 Unstable Ghouls.
Maybe. Think about using the 3/4 to hit the 2/4 so that they'll die from.
yeah.
Yeah. Because he's already used the silences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
And that's not a
face
good target for
with that
Cabal.
3/5.
And I just hear power face. You could even put out a Sludge Belcher. We can threaten board now because he's used a
Yeah.
lot of his board wipes. Then hero power face? Or hero power the 2/1?
Oh, hero
the
power the 1/2.
The 1/1? Yeah.
The 1/1, and that's just because of the Totem Carver.
Exactly.
Thunderbolt
Synergy. Yeah.
Yeah. tech's playing pretty well.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's
you have
fun
to be
deck.
careful not to overextend, but I don't feel like the Sledge Belcher was an overextension because it's not a real win condition.
True. And we've seen a lot of his major control and board wipes out.
Oh, Rock Biter.
Wow, that is... Feels bad, bro. That's some serious feels bad man right there. I don't know if I agree with the trade.
Elemental
Okay,
to kill it.
okay, that makes sense.
Kill it with fire, right?
Yeah.
You think this is a good Vol'jin target?
I do. Unless we draw a Shadow Word Death.
Oh, top deck.
Just draw the Shadow or Death, you're right.
So go to Shadow Word Death,
The Fire Elemental?
Fire Elemental. I know I really wanted that totem,
You may
But
not
he's-
see it.
but he's probably running only one Lightning Storm. So I feel like this is a better tempo play by playing the Cabal.
And then clear the other one with the 3-1
Yeah.
so that we
1.
play around Lightning Storm a little bit.
Yep.
Okay.
I still think he's playing Thunderblood Valiance. Oh, well, there is my boom target.
Yep.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so let's see. Before I do anything, I want to
Mhm.
take out the boom bots because I don't want them to hit Vol'jin.
Okay.
A wild Vastidius has appeared in chat and wants you to play an Angry Wisp.
Versika is the Angry Wisp. What are we talking about here? Oh, don't we want to pop the other bomb first?
I don't want to risk not being able to take out the
Oh,
boom.
I got you. Okay, fair enough.
So now I'll go to face with her.
You want to use the hero power to take it? Oh, okay. I see what you're doing. We
On
won't have the
tournament
hero
medic.
power.
Yeah.
No,
we'll-
but
we'll be
it
able to
makes
turn-
him run into the 1/1 taunt.
and it gives another
True.
target for the boom bot that
That can
won't
soak
die.
the damage, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have 2 tournament medics, and he's not threatening our health yet. That's fine. Oh, yeah.
I'll take that all day long. Now, if we just draw the other Shadow Word, son of a gun, there it is.
There it is.
Now he's just taunting you.
This is still fine.
Yeah.
This is still fine. Do we Shadow Word Pain the totem first? Or we can, yeah, hero power is fine. There we go. And then we throw up the taunt.
Go one to
This is tempo, my friends. This is the definition of tempo. Digging for answers now.
Oh.
Digging. He has got the shovel straight up out. This is great.
Yeah, I was absolutely, totally serious about the Headless Horseman, Fastidious. Just let me know what she wants for one, like what the rate would be. I would love to have an original Horseman piece.
Now we're just pressuring.
Yeah, I think you just
Yeah.
go face.
Play the hunter game. Me make
Okay,
trades.
so why didn't you Shadow Word the totem and then take the Cabal to the flame? Trying to think of my reasoning there. I've already moved on. Oh, he was running too.
It still doesn't put us in a terrible position. Oh, that's actually not good for him.
So this is a good position to light bomb. It'll kill just about everything.
What about Excavate Evil? Well, that'll kill yours too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna light bomb here.
Yeah. It leaves the O2 totem up, but that's fine. Because you're going to hero power down the...
Yeah, I have to hero power down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Novice?
Yeah.
Not
And
novice.
Joey was right in chat. I took
Novice,
unnecessary damage on the Cabal Shadow Priest the way that I played that. I was trying to play around the boom bot.
That's game.
Game.
Yeah. So hero fire to the face.
So we won last time.
Form to the face.
Well played. GG.
So it's actually, yeah, I was talking about its consistency early. It's actually one of the advantages. You can actually misplay a little bit. Like, even though I had a small misplay, it's still a misplay to run that, to run the Cabal in the way I did. If I had not, Joey in chat's right, it would have survived the lightning storm. I wasn't playing around the second lightning storm because I didn't think he had it. So what I was, the way I did it was, I was thinking of clearing in a way that protected
Protected the medic.
The medic and what I knew was going to be the Death Lord coming up.
Yeah.
Turned out that he had the second lightning storm and busted that open. So I did have a reasoning behind it, which is why I would say it was a small misplay, but it still ended up being a misplay, and it could have cost me the game had I not drawn into the Holy Fire. I didn't really have another way to end the game until I drew into my second Shadow form.
Mm-hmm.
So if he'd have had a Healing Wave, or if he'd have been running Antique Heal Bot, or if he had Tuskguard into a Vitality Totem, there's several different ways that I could have lost that game because of that play.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this deck shapes up with the Old Gods release next week.
Actually, I've already got a plan for this deck. This deck is not going away when Standard hits. In fact, I'm actually really excited for the changes that Standard is going to bring to this deck. I think it will become more powerful and faster with Old Gods.
Nice. I'm excited as well. I love Shadow Priest, so... Alright, guys. So, as we do each week, last minute thoughts. Versika, what do you got?
I'm ridiculously excited about Standard coming out next week. Probably more than the actual expansion itself. But I'm really anxious to see what the rest of the set holds. Super excited for the Shaman cards that are coming out. I feel like this will bring Shaman back into the mix. I don't really see any class that is just going to get out and out blasted. I think Zoo will take a hit. I think Face Hunter will take a hit. And of course, Secret Paladin will take a hit. I think most of the other classes are going to survive the transition okay. So I'm anxious to see what the meta looks like 3 weeks from now.
Okay. Zoroshio.
I'm just excited. I'm excited to see all the change. I'm excited to do what I think I'm good at, and that's make new meta decks, new types of decks out of a new set that's brand new, and nothing's really been established yet. And that's probably going to make a late climb on the ladder. I'm not really going to push for Legend, but I'd like to get up to rank 5. But I'm excited to play at the very end of next week.
All right. Awesome. Reminder for everybody, tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific, at twitch.com/playhearthstone. Tune in. It should be great. Can't wait to see it played. All right, guys, if you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Do us a favor, please hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you've not done so already. Give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. Remember to check out our Patreon, because once we hit our first milestone, we will start giving back to the community. to one lucky patron. For more details, check out patreon.com/heropower. As always, good gaming.
Have fun, guys.
And since we have Vestidius in the chat tonight, exit music.